just remember that time at the market. Jumped up behind me and jumped on my shopping cart and rolled down aisle 5. You looked behind you to smile back at me. Crashed into a rack full of magazines. They asked us if we could leave.
Welcome, Matt Cusson. Nice to welcome you here with us. We at Omega Beta Zeta have been following your musical career since 2006. Omega Beta Zeta celebrates its 25th anniversary this year, and we hope to reminisce a little and let a wonderful artist have a say. Matt Cusson likes to wear nice hats like this.
That's not my best one, but that's okay.
For this reason, we have organized a hat in which there are slips of paper with keywords that we draw one by one. Collaboration with other artists.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've done a ton of that. Especially in the last few years, I've kind of realized the power of collaboration. It's always nice to get another person's perspective on music, on songwriting, on production, on anything. I have a single coming out at the end of this month on April 26th. That's a collaboration with this incredible artist from New York. Her name is Jessica Carvo. The song is called Why Don't We Go? She's one of my favorite people to collaborate with. We did a Christmas song a few years back to a version of Paul McCartney's Wonderful Christmas Time. But yeah, I've everyone from, you know, local artists around where I live in Massachusetts and New York, to Stevie Wonder and Christina Aguilera and Brian McKnight, who I kind of credit as the start of my career is when I was at Berklee College of Music and Brian McKnight was in town doing a celebrity basketball game, and he came by the school and I met him through a bunch of mutual friends. I played piano and sang for him, and I literally dropped out of school that night and flew to his house in Los Angeles the next day. So I guess that was my first collaboration, because then we were in the studio, we wrote a bunch of stuff, and that kind of started my whole career of collaborating, especially. I love writing songs with other people. I love performing with other people. No matter what city I'm in, if I know a musician, I'm going to have them up on stage to do a song or sing or take a guitar solo or something fun. Music is music, and we should all do it together, you know. And I feel like the more collaboration, the more collaboration we do, the more our music gets out there, you know. It's like a cool thing about I did a song with Marie Dahlstrom. She's actually from she lives in London now, and we just kind of shared each other's fans, you know. A lot of people that didn't know who I was now know who I am from her, and a lot of people that know who she was now know her from me. So it's collaboration is beautiful, and there's nothing like getting a second pair of ears and a second brain on a song.
Yeah, collaboration is great and also important in your industry.
Big time. Yeah, if I sat here and did stuff by myself, it would be neat, but it's better to have another you know, musical perspective.
I know it's been so hard and you don't know what it all means. But don't you ever let go. See, there's a reason you're still standing after all you've seen. But don't you ever let go.
Inspiration in music.
Oh God, everything.
Everything.
Absolutely everything. Obviously love and relationships. My first record that came out in 2008 and then came out with Spectra Records in 2011. Every one of those songs, I believe almost every one of those songs, except for maybe one or two, was about a relationship, whether it was my relationship with somebody or I have a song called Take Me Along that was about a friend of mine's relationship with a girl from Canada that didn't speak English. And that was like, how did you know how that worked? But that's what the song's about. And Now my daughter, I have a 3-year-old daughter who I'm sure will be running in here at some point to say hello to you. She has inspired me, you know, her and my wife. The next record is all about them for the most part. You know, I have a couple songs that I wrote about personal experiences, but a lot of it is about them. My family inspires me. Going to shows and seeing that people actually come to my shows and sing along and request songs, unbelievably inspiring. I feel like I could write a song about this coffee mug because it's early and this is helping me get through the day, get through the morning. So I could easily write a song about coffee. I've had lyrics in my last album about coffee. So I like to write about unique stuff and different stuff. And I used to do this practice where it was actually, I read it in a book. Once a day, just pick something like this lip balm or this receipt from a gas station, blurry, and write for 10 minutes about that thing. So, and it just opens your mind to how can I describe this lip? You know, it's a weird answer to your question, but
No, it's a good answer.
yeah, but it's you can find inspiration in anything, and you never know where it's going to come from. I just walking around outside, I try to go on little nature walks almost every day, and just seeing a beautiful tree. That's really cheesy of me to say, but like that'll inspire me to, if not write a song about it, to put a lyric or something about that in a song that I'm already writing, kind of.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Yeah, okay,
So
good.
weird.
Inspiration comes from everywhere. Also, the stuff that's going on in the world, all the awful stuff, inspiring in a different way to try to write something to help. Like inspiration comes from everywhere. This
Yeah,
interview
it's great
I'm sure will
that you
inspire
can
me, and I'll write
find
a
everywhere inspiration.
Yes, I'm sure this interview will inspire me, and I'll write a lyric about you in some song.
Oh,
Here I lay, feeling every shade of blue and phantom gray over you. You're far away, but there's a piece of you that lives with me each day over me. Gentle breeze, won't you wrap me in your arms and off my feet? Take me to a place where I can be happy in the arms of my shady.
Piano Man in the shows.
Say again?
Piano Man in the shows.
Like shows where I just play piano?
Yeah.
So let's see. That kind of started with Brian McKnight as well. I guess it didn't start with him, but I toured with him for 7 years as his piano player, keyboard player. I sang some background, and that was great. But my biggest gigs for just playing keys were obviously Stevie Wonder. I only played with him once, but that's just something I'll never forget because he's my ultimate. But Brian McKnight, CeeLo Green, I played with for a while. A lot of friends I play with all the time. My most recent gig, I play with this an incredible Broadway jazz pop singer. Her name is Megan Hilty. She had a huge show out called Smash a few years ago, and she was the lead, the witch, the Good Witch in Broadway and she is also going back to Broadway this year in the fall with a show called Death Becomes Her. And she is just one of the most, it's like playing piano for Ella Fitzgerald. I'm in no way would I claim myself a Broadway pianist. I'm a more of a jazz R&B pianist. And she lets me be me, and she sings so beautifully to everything I play, and we kind of just feed off each other. Piano has become one of my favorite things about music because I have a keyboard here, I have a keyboard in my room over there. I travel with a keyboard, obviously. And anytime I'm feeling blue or down, or anytime I'm stressed, it's the one aspect of music where I can sit down and play, and I don't have to think about, oh, this is cool. Sometimes that happens where I got to write this down, I got to record this, but a lot of times it's just an escape, and I can just play and not worry about making mistakes and not worry about playing a certain song and just play. And it's a beautiful way to get out of my head, which I'm in a lot. I'm a overthinker and a I used to drink way too much, all the bad stuff, and I would just sit and play, and it would kind of take me away from all that. I hope that answered your question too.
Yeah, it answers my question. I have also a keyboard at home, but I'm only able to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Stars or To
Great
Joy.
song. Yes. So my favorite thing to do is I'll take Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and I'll play it in a different way. I'll play a jazz way, and then I'll play a pop way, and then I'll just challenge myself to, you know, throw as many different ways. I do that all the time. It's fun.
Yeah, I have a button so you can play not like an organ, and it's
different sounds. So one of the things my daughter loves to do, yes, my daughter loves to sit at my keyboard out there, and she just bangs on it, and then she just loves to switch the sound. It has thousands of sounds, so she loves all the different sounds. I think it's good for kids. It's good for us.
Yeah,
I think it's really good. I'll teach you some tricks on piano.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, if you want.
I've in Los Angeles, song Living in LA and the Reality.
Leaving LA, what the song was about?
Yeah.
Okay.
The real life.
Yeah. So that song, I lived in Los Angeles for a couple years, and I signed with Spectre Records in 2011, and they put me on like about a 30-city tour a couple years after I signed with them, and it went from like San Francisco area down to Los Angeles, all the way across the south of America, and all the way up to Maine, which is basically the entire, you know, without being in the middle of it. Although I did some shows in the middle of the states as well. And as I was packing to leave LA, I just came up with that kind of piano. You know, the song is basically a piano riff that repeats. And I came up with that, and I came up with the goodbye, I'm leaving LA. And I came up with that, but I didn't quite know what I was going to write it about yet. And a friend of mine who was an actor called me, and she had moved to LA a couple years previous to when I was leaving. And she was also leaving. And we had this long conversation about people that move to LA and think one thing, think my dreams are going to come true and I'm going to become
That's the same thing I was thinking about.
Yes. Everybody has that. I had that. I moved to LA when I was 19 for a couple years, and I had all sorts of opportunities. I had record deals, and none of it panned out. Nothing happened from any of it. You know, I met some great people and had some cool opportunities, but it didn't make me the star that everybody moves to LA with dreams of being. So as I was leaving LA with that story in my brain, I actually wrote that song in probably an hour. And I didn't have the bridge yet. The bridge, and I take my time down all the signs. So when I was on that tour, I wanted to perform that song because I really liked it. But I sang a different bridge every night, or sometimes I would skip the bridge and just, you know, sing another chorus and then the song. So it kind of started in Los Angeles, and as I left to go on tour, it formed into the song that it is now. And as soon as I got back from tour, I recorded it, and it won the John Lennon Songwriting Award for Best R&B Song, which blew my mind. And I think it won in 2017. And yeah, that's the story behind that song. It's a lot of just broken dreams. We all have them, you know, these broken dreams and things, and things that didn't happen the way I still deal with that today. You know, I was supposed to be, you know, Justin Timberlake or whoever. And obviously I'm not. And I still deal with, you know, the reality that the rock star dreams didn't really come true, but I have an awesome career, so I'm not complaining at all. But it's funny how everything kind of shifts and is different than you thought it was going to be when you were 18 years old.
Do you know how it feels to be in love and risk it all? Spending all of your time and money just to watch it fall. So cue fade to black, credits roll, 'cause it's off in the sunrise and gold. So goodbye, I'm leaving LA. I hate to go, but it's hard to stay. Won't you tell Hollywood, see you soon? 'Cause I saw your stars, but I see the moon. So I'm leaving LA.
Oh, your Grammy nomination in 2023.
Yes. So yeah, it's so crazy that's a thing. It was 2020. It was the height of the pandemic. We lived in New York City, and my wife found out she was pregnant. And 2 months after we found out she was pregnant, the pandemic started. And everybody's advice was move near your family. My family lives about 2 hours north of New York City in Massachusetts. And everybody's advice was, you're going to want the help with a baby. It's not easy. Go get your, let her be around her grandparents. Might have a brother and sister, let them help out. So we packed up all our stuff. We moved up to Massachusetts, and we didn't have a place to live. During the pandemic, 1 million New Yorkers moved to the area that we live in and bought all the houses. So we're still looking for a house. We still don't have a house, but we moved in with my parents for about 6, 7, 8 months, and all of my studio gear was in storage. I had a little laptop, I had a little interface, and a little keyboard about this big, which for a piano player, I like to stretch out. We figured we'd find a place and it wouldn't be that hard. So, not to mention the baby had just been born. All this started when she was born. So I got no gear, parents' house, newborn baby, and it's hard to find time to do anything. So I get a random DM from a guy named Gabe Kunda, who turns out to be the bass singer in a group called King's Return. And he said, "Hey man, I love your arrangements. Do you think you'd be able to arrange the song How Deep Is Your Love for my a cappella group?" And I had to be like, oh God, I don't know how soon I'd be able to do this. The baby doesn't sleep ever. And it was a stressful time, and we're looking for houses every day. And it was a job, and he was really nice, and I heard some of their stuff on Instagram. I was like, oh, you guys are amazing. I was like, sure, I'll do it. It took me about 3, 4, 5 days to do the arrangement. And then, another few days to do the fixes, and they recorded it. And they do these little sessions where they sing in the hallway of their high school, or the stairwell of their high school. And they did that, and they posted it, and it went viral like immediately. Gabe texted me. He said, "Hey, we have like 2 million views on Twitter in the first day. We have like 500,000 views on YouTube in the first day." I'd never had a viral video, so I was like, this is amazing. So because of that, they recorded it, they put it on their album, and I believe their producer submitted it for Best Arrangement in the Grammys, and I think it was November 12th, 2022. My wife was away working, so we were at my parents' house visiting at that time, because we did find an apartment. And I was chasing the baby around. She had just learned to walk, and that's a trip. And so I was chasing her around. All of a sudden, my phone starts blowing up, absolutely blowing up. And it took me a little while to get to the phone, because I was, playing with my daughter. And I looked at my phone, and the first text I opened was from Gabe, and he just wrote a bunch of random letters and like gibberish. exclamation points, periods, letters. And I was like, what the heck does that mean? Then I read the next text that said, congratulations. Then I read the next text and it said, OMG, exclamation point. I was like, what is going on? So I looked at my voicemail and I had a few voicemails as well. And I checked, Gabe had left me a bill and he's like, dude, we got nominated for a Grammy. And I was like, I freaked out. I had tears coming down my face. And yeah, I got nominated for a Grammy for Best Arrangement for that song that I did on my little janky studio in my parents' house, you know, with a newborn baby attached to my, you know, in a harness on my chest. And we didn't win, but it was an amazing experience to be there with them, to see they're the greatest guys in the world. And they're so amazingly talented. And we've worked on about 5, 6, 7 songs since that one. And it's opened up a million doors for me. And I'm incredibly thankful to them and the producer that submitted the song and everyone that voted, because it's pretty nuts that that's attached to my name, you know, forever, Grammy nominated. It's pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
of course.
It's crazy. Yeah. And it's opened up a million doors.
It's absolute crazy.
Thankful for it. Yes. So I still doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real still.
Yeah. It seems like a dream so far away, but
You think
it's
that, yeah,
really
the word
cool.
Grammy, yeah, there's so many musicians and the word Grammy is just unattainable. You're like, oh, that'll never happen. And here we are. And now I'm in the system and, oh, you know, hopefully someday we get another one.
Hats and caps. Trademark and history.
So I would say I come from a very, all of the men in my family started losing their hair very early. I started losing my hair
That's the
probably.
reason.
Yeah, well, it's the reason why I
You were-
started wearing them. Yeah, I started, you know, the whole right here, probably when I was like 20, like really young, 19, really, really young. And it destroyed me. Like record labels didn't want to work with me because of it. It was terrible. And it really traumatized me. So I just started, the hat thing just became a thing that I did to cover that up. And then it became, like you said, not a trademark, but something that people were, I wonder what hat he's going to wear tonight at the show. And then it became a thing. So I started investing. I have a closet full of hats over there. And yeah, it just became, it started with the slowly losing of hair. I started graying really early too. Thank God for hair color. I can color my hair. Yeah, it's I wish it was a cooler story, but it honestly started with the insecurity of graying
But-
hair, losing hair. I know now that nobody cares.
But it's a funny story. It's a funny
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, exactly. And so yeah, and it was, I remember I got a record deal with this label when I was like 22, 23, and they said, we'll give you an advance and you have to use that to fix your hair. And I was like, that's not nice. That's, why would you tell me that? So it was very traumatizing in my late teens and early 20s because literally it's all people would talk about when I would go to meetings sometimes. And I'm like, what about my music? And they're like, yeah, but your hair. And so it started with that. And then it just became part of my artist, you know, persona. I'm gonna wear different hats. And now it's just I don't even, I just flip one on before I walk out the door to go do a show. I don't even think about it anymore.
When I look at you, but I wanna feel inside. There's something about the things you do that keeps me satisfied. Lots of you, baby, it's mainly a physical thing. This feeling that I got for you, baby, makes me wanna say, I feel for you. I think I love you. I feel for you. I think I love you.
The John Lennon Songwriting Contest and Yoko Ono.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to win that twice. One for best R&B song and one for best song, which was the big award. It was a song called One of Those Nights that I started to write when I was in a very, very, very dark place that I think all of us artists go through. Very, very dark place. Super depressed, super, you know, lay on the floor for days and days and days with the lights off and, you know, that whole thing. I started to write the song, and on my first record, it's really one of the only songs that came out the exact way that I had it in my head. And I submitted it to the Lennon award, and you know, I knew it won for best jazz song. And then the big award I didn't know, and I was actually playing with Brian McKnight, and we had a show in Dallas, Texas. And right before we play his big song Back at One, he said, I need my boy Matt to come front and center. And I was like, wait, what? And he said, yeah, come over here. And I left the keyboard and I came out front. I didn't know what was going on. And a bunch of people came out and they said, you won the best song for the John Lennon Songwriting Award. And I like lost my mind. My mom had flown down. I didn't know she was there. It was a crazy surprise. And it's the stuff that came along with that was nuts. The big check that they gave me on the stage, and there was a huge after party after the show. It was crazy. It was definitely a step, closer to your dreams. Anytime your name gets involved with John Lennon and that world
Yeah.
is a good thing. And then at NAMM in Anaheim, California, which is this big music convention, they asked, the John Lennon bus does a thing there every year, and I performed, and then they said Yoko Ono wants to meet you and interview you, and I was just like freaking out. And then yeah, and there's actually a video online of our conversation, and I got to spend a lot of time with her and ask her questions, and it was wild. Another one of those things you're like, did that really happen? That didn't happen. Like, I won the award, and then I got to sit with Yoko Ono for an hour, half hour, and just chat. And she was awesome. And everybody at the John Lennon, thank to all of them, because they're incredible people. They have an incredible thing going. Their buses, they have a John Lennon bus that they tour the country with. Incredible. There's a studio on it. It's just beautiful. That's where we did the interview. Yeah, crazy moment.
As time passes by, still I can't close my eyes. Please let tomorrow be today. Oh, oh, oh. When there's nothing to do and distractions are few, all my thoughts have a mind of their own. Even times when I dream.
Marriage and family.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, they're like you asked in the first question. They're my biggest inspiration. They're my backbone. They're my rock. They're both, even the 3-year-old, much stronger than I am. The more you talk to me, the more you realize I am a very insecure, very weak. I'm a softie. I'm very emotional. I cry over commercials these days. Like, everything makes me cry. I'll probably cry during this interview.
Me too.
Yeah. What is that? What is that? What is that trait? I don't know. But so I met my wife. I was opening for Hootie and the Blowfish with my friend Javier Colon, who was the season 1 winner of The Voice out here. And we were opening for Hootie and the Blowfish, and my wife was there making an appearance. She used to do a lot of gigs like that, because I don't know if you guys ever had a show called Deal or No Deal, where there's a bunch of briefcases and you pick up.
Yeah, something like this.
Yeah, so she was one of the case girls in the show here. Yeah, so she was making an appearance. And Javier had met her at another gig, and he said, you got to meet this. She's great. I had just broken up with a previous girl that I was dating, so I was very depressed. They get, emotional like we get. And I met her, and I thought, oh, she'll never date me. She'll never go for me. She dates celebrities, and so I just brushed it off. I was like, she's beautiful. She's really funny. She's cool. But I was just like, there's no way she'll go for me. So I just went home that night, and that was that. And then we became friends on social media and started talking, and she was really funny. And we were friends for a long time before we started dating, which I think helps. And I had to move to California to do the Brian McKnight television show, which was a show that was out for about a year. And I was a musician who, couch surfed, and I wasn't fancy. I just stayed at friends' houses, and I was staying at a house, and they said, "Hey, we just sold the house. You got to leave in like 2 weeks." And I called her and I said, "Listen, I need a place to stay for a few days. I know this is bold of me to call you and ask if I could stay with you for a couple nights. I just need a couch to sleep on." And she said, "Absolutely." And I went in and I never moved out. And here we are now. And now my daughter, who is my everything, I'm surprised she hasn't run it. Oh, I locked the door for your sake. I locked the door because the podcast 2 nights ago, and she came in here probably 6 times and sat on my lap and waved. And
Oh, that's cute.
she's sweet. She's really awesome. She's 3.5 now, and that flew by because I felt like she was just born. But yeah, she's everything.
Yeah,
I've already 2
I move
lullabies
fast.
so fast. I can't believe how fast it goes. We're looking for schools for next year. Like, I can't believe she's going to
Oh.
school. Talk about crying. I'm gonna lose my mind. We went and looked at a school a couple weeks ago, and just me walking in started weeping. And the
And she
teacher
was
like,
like,
"Okay."
"Daddy, what you
She,
doing?"
I didn't even exist. She went and started playing with the kids right away. And I think that's why I started crying. I was like, "Oh my God, she fits in
That's
so."
how things went.
Yes. So they're everything. I'm very lucky because I know how hard it is for a touring musician to have a family. Um, and leaving is hard. I'm coming actually to Europe in 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And it's killing me to leave. But gotta keep going, gotta keep pushing, gotta make money, gotta pay rent. But it's tough to leave, but they're my everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything. Yeah. I'm very lucky to have them both because they keep me. If it wasn't for them, who knows where I'd be now? I think I'd be even more depressed. I'd be a mess, I think, but they've kept me standing straight.
Yeah, that's great. So I can understand why they're your biggest inspiration.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's especially musicians are weird and artists we're that's a bold general
Musicians
statement.
are weird.
Yeah, we're just I had a lot of mental problems and over emotional, overthinking everything, and she made me stronger, and I depend on them like crazy. Without them, I am half a man without them. When I'm on the road, I'm half of a person, but they've made me stronger and wiser and grow up because even when I turned 30, I was still a 12-year-old, that didn't know how to do, I ate mac and cheese and ramen every night, nothing healthy. And so they straightened me out and for the better.
The album Only Human.
So that was my second record. It was a bold choice for me to kind of, I'm a R&B jazz artist. I guess if you had to peg me into one thing, it would be that. And my first album was basically R&B jazz heavy, and it did really well for me, really, really well. And I kind of went away from that a little bit for the second record. You should probably wait to do that, but I said, I had a lot of things I wanted to say. So the second record is a more singer-songwriter lyric based with big arrangements, a lot of horns and strings and stuff like that. But I didn't do like the jazz thing that I usually do. It was very more pop driven, singer-songwriter driven. And that album means a lot to me because, like I said, I was going through a lot, and there's some very personal songs on there. And I don't think it did as well as the first one. And it made some new fans, but I think it lost some of the old R&B jazz fans that liked my original stuff. So, but I'm glad I did it because that was like therapy for me, that album. It was uh in the middle of a pretty dark time, and I was able to just, spit out these words that really meant something to me. And I knew that it was a risk because it was just so different. It didn't have the soul that my first record had. I'm going back to that now. Thankfully, I love that style, and that's what I'm doing now. It's kind of my home where I live. But that was like just a little adventure, that was a nice little therapy session for me to be able to say the things I wanted to say. And there was even a couple songs that were almost like a cry for help. And yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. It was a therapy adventure, I guess is the best way. Only Human kind of wraps up like I'm only human. I am losing my hair, and I do deal with depression, and I do have a drinking problem. And that's basically what that album was. It was a therapy session for a lot of the things I was going through at the time. And I don't regret doing it, but I know it. A lot of people are like, "What is this record?" They didn't, they didn't love it or understand it. But I think the people that sat and listened to the words and really got into the arrangements and stuff, they respected it and they understood what I was going for.
Yeah, I also think so, because I really like the real stuff, real words in the songs, and so I can, yeah, feel what
Yeah.
you're going through.
Yes. Yes. Check out a song called "Who Like Me." I wrote that song in a mental home. And it's about the whole experience, about who like me needs a little bit of peace in their life because I don't have it right now. And that's what that song is about. And I have a song called "Another Drink." That is a fun, happy, song, but it's really just, I'm drinking too much. I need to figure this thing out. Yeah, there's a lot of songs like that. I have a song called "Already Gone" that's about both of those things in one. Like, just, it's what am I doing? I feel like I'm already gone. Like I'm out of my mind already. Like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I probably need more therapy, but that song was really good.
But
That
music
album,
is therapy.
huh?
Music is therapy.
1000%. And I listen to every style of music. I listen to singer-songwriter, classical. I listen to everything. So I think at the time I was heavy into like Paul Simon and James Taylor and that kind of thing. And I was like, that's what I'm feeling right now. And that's what I did.
Longer days and shorter nights, been settling down in hell. I'm stuck in the kind of time that could only kill itself. Taking downs to fall asleep and an upper to start my day. They fill me up with chemistry and they send me on my way. Who like me wants some sanity and a reason to break from the storm? Who like me needs some clarity and a chance to be reborn? Who like me?
The Europe tour, Netherlands, Portugal, Britain.
Yeah, there's a few of those. I'm assuming he's talking about the one with Brian McKnight. But yeah, I'll just generalize it. I love coming out there so much. I feel like the music fans out there are real. They still like to come to shows out there. When I was there with Brian McKnight, we were playing massive venues and they knew every word to every song. And I got to open for him, which was a treat, which was just so amazing. It was Joe, Boyz II Men, Brian McKnight, and I would do a couple songs before Brian McKnight. So it was crazy. The Boyz II Men get off stage and I get on stage was just wild. I am obsessed with that part of the world. I'm so glad to be coming back. I'm doing Italy and Malta and Greece in 3 weeks. And next year I'm doing Finland and Norway and a few other places.
That's
It's
cool.
it's the best. I love coming out there. You guys are amazing. I love America too, but it's just nice to be able to see other cultures and how they respond to your music and just music in general. I absolutely love coming out there. And that tour, which I believe is the one he's talking about, was so special. I remember being stuck in an elevator with Wanye from Boyz II Men. I remember on a random night, Brian and Boyz II Men decided to sing "It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday" together, and I got to play keys. Like, just moments like that, I'll never ever forget. That was incredibly special. I remember Joe coming up to me and said, "Am I allowed to swear?" a curse on this podcast or this interview? I don't want to say a wrong word and get in trouble.
No, no problem. No,
Joe came
don't
up to
worry.
me after I went on stage. He said, "Yo, you are the shit." I was like, "Oh my God, Joe just told me I was the shit." So that tour was filled with moments that I will never ever forget. And I was young. I was in my 20s. Like I was a baby, and it was incredible to just be on stage with those people performing, you know, my own stuff. And then I introduced Brian before I ran back to my little keyboard, you know, world. I would sing, introduce Brian, and then go back and we do a Brian McKnight show where we would also sing a duet together. We sang Still in Love together. It was crazy. That's another thing. You're getting me all like, I'm thinking about these moments, the Grammy, the John Lennon, now this. I'm just like, did that happen? Did I tour Europe with these guys and get to sing with them and hang out with them? It was crazy. We played basketball every day, wherever we were. We'd find a gym and play basketball. We'd play golf sometimes. It was just fun to hang and then go perform in front of people that really, really love the music.
Song Comfortable.
Comfortable was the first song I recorded in the early 2000s during the MySpace days. You probably don't even know what MySpace is.
Oh, I know. MySpace.
Okay. Good. So it was during the MySpace days. Comfortable was this perfect song. I went to Berklee College of Music, and before I got there, John Mayer was there. And he's older than me, but I got to hang out with him a bunch. He was always in Boston hanging out with his friends and his old roommates and stuff. And I remember hearing that song that he recorded, I believe at Berklee, with a bunch of Berklee musicians. And I was just obsessed with it. I was like, this song is incredible. I want to record it someday. And a few years later, I did. I just sat down in my apartment one day and played piano and sang it and put it on MySpace. And it like really kind of kicked off my recording career. A lot of people seemed to dig it, and I put it on my first record and did really, really well. I heard through the grapevine that John Mayer liked it. So that's really just the only story about that. A song I loved that I decided to cover and put on my record, and it did really well. It was the first song I ever put on MySpace, and it did pretty good.
Relocation to New York.
Yeah, it's when you're an American entertainer, you kind of bounce between a few different cities. For me, it was Los Angeles and New York. So I went to Los Angeles when I was about 19 or 20. I was working with my good friend Rob Lewis and a few other people, and I stayed there for about a year. I moved to New York probably around 22, 23. And I love New York. I love LA, but New York, I'm an East Coast guy. I've always loved New York. There's really no story. I moved to New York, stayed there for a couple of years, moved back to Massachusetts where my family was for a little while, and then moved back to LA. I think I said before, to do the Brian McKnight show. That's where I met my wife. And in that stint, you know what? No, it wasn't. I moved to LA to do that show. The show got canceled, but I stayed out there for a little bit longer. I don't remember. It's all a blur. And then moved back to New York when I went on that tour, that 30-city tour that record label put me on. We just kind of fell in love with New York again, and we decided to live there, and my wife was able to work a ton from there. It's, you know, there's a lot of, it's New York and LA. That's kind of where it was. And now it's Nashville and Atlanta has joined in, a lot of other cities. So it's pretty awesome. Chicago. But New York is kind of, I've always lived just a couple hours from it. Always loved the music, the culture, the food. Just love New York. And when we went there, we loved it so much that we didn't leave. And though we're not living in New York now, we're only a couple hours away and we're there all the time. So we love New York.
So if you have to choose between Los Angeles and New York wins.
It's a tough choice, and it's probably unpopular. I think a lot of people would choose LA, but I think I would choose New York. I don't mind the weather. I'm actually one of those fools that loves snow, that loves cold weather. Yeah, I think I would, but I love both cities.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. Oh, open your eyes, look up to the skies and see doesn't really matter to me. To me.
Platform MySpace. That's how our
Mhm.
degree connected you back then.
Yeah, what would we do without MySpace? It's how I met you guys. It's how I met it's I think it's the platform I really started chatting with my wife on and being really shy because I'm not, so made it easy. It was the first site I put comfortable on. I miss those days where there was kind of just one thing, one platform, and
Yeah.
everybody was on it. Yeah, and you could have a million friends, and it was a lot of fun. Now there's just too many. I can't keep up. Um, but MySpace was, I wish it was still a thing because it was really fun to you know say, okay, this is my music page and here's my latest song and this and that, and people could download it if they wanted to. And I know you could do that now, but it's all free now, and it's pretty easy to get any song you want. But
Yeah.
MySpace was fun, and I'm thankful for it to bring me to Dewey, to bring me to, which brought me to you, and friends that I still have to this day. I had a show in Philadelphia the other night, and uh, somebody came up to me and said, "We used to talk on MySpace," and I'm like, "Thank God for my." So, and that's where that song "Comfortable" really grew, and I still sing "Comfortable" sometimes in my shows to this day. So, I owe MySpace a lot.
The Darrow School in New Lebanon, New York.
The Darrow School. Yeah, I did one project with them. I had a couple friends that worked there, and they did these little music series. And Darrow School is one of the most beautiful schools I've been to. It's just the plot of land. It's got ponds and lakes and ducks walking by, and the
Wow.
buildings are, yeah, the buildings are from like the 19th century. Like they're old, but they really kept them up well. They're beautiful. Like you walk in. So if you see this video I made, you'll see the beautiful, wood beams and beautiful, beautiful buildings. And they asked me to come sing Stevie Wonder's If It's Magic with this harpist that was going to school there at the time. She was incredible and so sweet. And I was actually really sick that day. You can kind of tell when you listen to that video that I was popping like halls and trying to do whatever I could do to have a decent voice. I didn't have much of a range or flexibility, but I got through the song, which was good, and it came out great. And it's this really beautiful moment between me and this harpist in this beautiful, beautiful building. And yeah, it's a great school, and they do wonderful things, and it was fun to be able to do that.
If it's magic, then why can't it be everlasting? Like the sun that always shines, like the poet's endless rhyme, like the galaxies in time. If it's pleasing, then why can't it be never leaving? Like the day that never fails, like on seashores there are shells, like the time that always tells. It holds the key to every heart throughout the universe. It fills you up without a bite and quenches every thirst. Oh.
Don't Let Go challenge.
Yes, Don't Let Go was another moment. That happened during the pandemic. I have something in my eye. That happened during the pandemic. The amazing PJ Morton, who has become one of my favorite artists over the years, did a Don't Let Go challenge. And I'm not one, as I talk to you about my insecurities and all that, I'm not one to just do videos on Instagram and stuff. I don't love my face on camera. I don't, yeah, I don't know. I just never been that one. That's why I'm not big on TikTok, because I don't sit here and record myself all day. But my friend Javier Colon, who was the winner of The Voice, did the challenge. He played guitar, unbelievable voice and guitar player. And so when he does it, you have to challenge other people. So he challenged me. And I was like, oh man, I don't want to do this challenge. But it was the pandemic. I had nothing else to do. So I did a piano track, and I tried to do it all in one take. And then I sang it real quick and threw some background vocals on it. And I posted it. And it was one of those things. Like when my phone blew up from the Grammy thing, I woke up the next morning and I had like 700 new followers. And yeah, I was like, what is happening? And I found out that PJ Morton himself posted the video of me singing it. He's got a gazillion followers and millions of fans. So it was wild. And he texted me, he's like, oh, this is amazing. And it was crazy to just have that, just from that one little challenge that I did, pretty quickly. All this came from it. And now that will be on my next record. And it's a song that really did super well for me. Thanks to Javier for, challenging me. And thanks to thanks to PJ for posting it. Cause man, that was wild to have, somebody that huge see something of yours and post it. I guess that's why we're all on social media, right? That's kind of what you want to happen. I guess it was viral-ish. I didn't get millions of views, but got a bunch.
A touching story.
Oh God, I have a million of them. Let me think. I mean, I told you about my mom coming to the John Lennon thing in Dallas. That was incredibly touching. So you already know that story. All right, here you go. I was a part of let me make sure I get the name right. Give me 1 second. Of a company called, hold on, called Musicians on Call. Just want to make sure I got that name right. All right, where'd you go? There you go. So I was a part of a company when I lived in New York City of a company called Musicians on Call, which is this unbelievable organization that takes musicians and we go into hospitals and sing to the patients. And I did that for a long time. It's really hard for me. As I tell you how emotional I am,
Yeah.
it's really hard, but they're rewarding. And when you see the people's faces, it's incredible. So there was one day I was at Sloan Kettering, which is New York's, I think, one of the best cancer hospitals around. And I went in, and it was one of those rooms where you had to wear, the mask and this is well way before the pandemic, and a robe and all that stuff for the purpose of spreading germs and all that. And I walked in, and there was this older man who looked like he had been through everything, and his daughter was there with her, and I think there was a couple other people in the room, and it was a little, I don't want to say awkward, but to be like, hey, you want to hear a song? When these people are, pretty blue. But they have somebody that kind of does that for you. So she went in the room and said, do you guys want to hear a song? I have a pianist and a singer here. And they said, sure. So I walked in and I said, what do you want to hear? Is there anything you want to hear? And they said he really loved Ray Charles. So I played Georgia, and I see him start to kind of shake, and he smiled, and he lifted his hands and was going like this, like kind of, and I had to hold it back because I didn't want to just be an emotional mess in front of these people. And I finished the song, they clapped, they said thank you, and I left. And the daughter came out and said, just so you know, he has not smiled or moved like that in about 2 years. And I started weeping. So the moments like that are moments that keep me going. I mean, first of all, how lucky are we that we get to play music for a living, and we get to talk to people from across the world like you, and meet new friends. We're new friends now, we follow each other, we're friends. And to be able to touch somebody like that it makes, if I don't make $1 doing music for the rest of my life, that moments like that are why, more so than money and all that, moments like that are the only reason to sing and play music for people that appreciate it that much, and that can take somebody from something so traumatic to a smile.
Difficult beginnings.
Oh, buddy,
Oh, the
still-
real
oh,
harsh
so
themes.
yeah, we always go through difficult. It's the music business has changed so much. Outside of my mental stuff that I dealt with, yeah, in my 20s it was hard because my early 20s, you know, you're young, you're hip, you can sing, everybody wants to work with you, everybody wants to sign you to a record deal. You know, you get discovered by Brian McKnight at 18. That nothing, you know, I shouldn't say nothing came from that, but like I said earlier, when your dreams that were supposed to happen from 16 to 25 didn't come true, and you got this close a million times, and the, you know, because of that, you know, I don't have a job. I make money playing piano for people. I make money singing for 4 hours in some bar on the Upper West Side somewhere, or in a small town in upstate New York or something like that, you know. And you make, you know, you go sing for 4 hours, you make $200. So there was always the struggle of that, the starving artist thing. That lasted a long time, and I still go through times where I'm like, shoot, we need to figure out, you know, it's just, music is tough. Music is really tough. I've been very lucky to make a good living doing it, but streaming has killed us, absolutely killed us. You know, I used to, even when it was just iTunes, my royalty checks would pay rent. And now with streaming, you know, instead of getting 70 cents a song, you're getting 0.0001 cent every time it gets streamed. You know, I think I read an article that Happy by Pharrell made like $5,000 or something like that. So there's always a struggle. I think it's, you choose music because you love it and you have to do it. My friend Arnold McCuller, who I work with all the time, incredible musician, singer, said, we do music because it would kill us if we didn't. We wouldn't be alive if we didn't. And that's kind of where I'm at. I do music because I love it, and I see the stories like the one I just told, and I see how people still come to my shows and request songs that they like that I've written. And that just keeps me going. The early struggles were real, like really real. So much so, like I said, it put me in a mental home after a lot of it happened. It brought me to drink way more than I ever should have. Um, it's a constant struggle to be an artist. It's tough, but we do it because we love it. And if you get a little bit of success, and people like you who want to talk to me for some reason, you know, it keeps us going, and it keeps, those stories keep me going. I've moved out of the whole rock star phase of fame and money, you know, all that. That doesn't matter. That stuff doesn't matter. It's awesome if you got it, but it's not why you do music, and it's not why I chose to have this career. So the struggles were real. I'm sure I could think of a million struggle stories, but I had them. I had all the typical cliche ones where you're, you know, sleeping on couches because you can't afford rent. I've had all those stories, and thank God I've always had a family who supported me and helped me when I needed it. Because without them, I would not be in the music business at all. And yeah, the struggles were real, but we're still here, and we're alive, and we're still playing music.
Yeah, beginnings in music and also in acting are very difficult.
Oh, and the difference, like, at least I could, like, I don't know, and this is ignorant of me, what the actor does outside of auditioning and not getting parts to they wait tables and stuff, you know. I think at least I got to go play in bars for $100, $200. I was always able to do that, which isn't always fun, but it's playing music for people that, you know, if they're not drunk. And last time I did a gig for the last one I can remember that I did was quite a while ago. I had the microphone right here, and somebody who was very intoxicated ran into the mic stand, and it whacked me in the mouth, and it chipped my front tooth. Those gigs
Really?
are, yeah, gigs, I got it fixed. It's good now. But those gigs aren't always fun. And but we do them because it's still music. It's still making money playing music. You're a professional musician if you're doing those gigs. And I have friends that make awesome livings doing those gigs. So the struggle is real in the beginning. There's always a struggle at some, through parts of your career. And I'm thankful for where I'm at now, but that's not to say that next year won't be a struggle. You never know.
Christmas music. So a nice topic now.
Yes, thank you. Christmas music is probably my favorite music in the world. I grew up in a very fun-loving Christmas house. We started in November. My dad he's a music lover. He was a songwriter and a pianist and did a lot of awesome music things in his life. And he was always he would come home from work and just play records. And he would sit in the living room and have a drink and play records. And that's how he would wind down. And I was a baby at the time, but he would always play Nat King Cole's Christmas record around Christmas time, which is my favorite. He would always play the Carpenters Christmas record, the Bing Crosby stuff, all the classic stuff. And I love that style of music because I listened to all the jazz stuff and all the crooner jazz standard stuff, American songbook stuff. And when you couple those lyrics and those timeless songs with the joy that my parents were able to give me during Christmas, there's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it. And I'm fortunate enough to record a whole bunch of Christmas tunes. And I actually wrote one that I'm going to try to record this year, but I got our album to finish first. Yeah, I will always record Christmas music because it makes everybody happy. Even my friends that don't celebrate Christmas, they love the music. And it just puts me in a feeling that a lot of music doesn't. A lot of times as a musician, you listen to music and I just think, oh, that was a great chord change. That was an awesome thing, whatever. Christmas music, I can just put on and listen to music like a non-musician, just enjoy the music and get the feeling that it gives you when the first snowfall happens and we're decorating a tree and my 2-year-old is breaking ornaments and stuff. It's the best. It's the absolute best.
Yeah, Christmas music it's another vibe. It's
a whole other vibe.
Very special.
Yeah. So special, and I love all of it.
Which is your favorite Christmas song?
That's a tough one. I have a library of 9,000 Christmas songs in my computer.
And your absolute favorite? I know, tough question.
Yeah, that's a really tough one. Anything Nat King Cole sings. When he sings, it's everybody knows it, but when his voice goes chestnuts roasting on an open fire, all the feelings from his voice. Nat King Cole has one of those voices that I can't believe a voice like that exists and comes out of this person's mouth. He just makes me I used to imitate him when I was a kid because I thought he was the best, and I still do. If you ask me again tomorrow, it'll change, but I'll say the Christmas song by Nat King Cole. Also check out Silent Night by Till Bronner, one of my favorite arrangements ever. He's this German trumpet player who is my favorite trumpet player on the planet right now, one of them. And that's if I could pinpoint a song, it's that. But the Christmas song, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, is amazing. See, now you got me going down the rabbit hole. They're all amazing. I love them all. What's your favorite?
I know everybody will be annoyed, but
Carrie.
Last Christmas.
Oh, okay. No, I love Last Christmas. I was either that Mariah Carey one is a lot of the answers, which is also awesome. Last Christmas. So I that's a sad song, right? When you listen to the lyrics. Yeah. I was going to record just me and piano doing it a little slower with some harmonies and stuff. So maybe someday I'll do that and I'll send it to you before I release it.
Yeah, please. I love the song.
Yeah. Love Wham. They're awesome.
Christina Aguilera.
Yes. Right before the pandemic, my friend Rob Lewis, who I mentioned before, I owe so much of my career to him. He's the one that introduced me to McKnight when I was 18. He's the one that got me on TV several times for gigs. First time I moved to LA, I lived with Rob. I roommated with him and we had a studio and we worked on a million things together. But he called me and he said, hey, I need a background singer for Christina Aguilera, but the biggest thing is you have to sing the duet, Say Something with her. I was like, yeah, of course, I would love to. He was like, well, here's the thing. I need you out here in 2 days and you have to learn about 30 songs. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So I just absorbed those 30 songs, 24 hours a day for about 2, 3 days. And then the plane ride out there, we started at a Vegas residency at Planet Hollywood in Vegas. And uh, I've always been a huge fan. I was able to tour with her 15 years ago, but the tour unfortunately got canceled before our first show. So after a month of rehearsals, I got to know her a little bit. I got to know some of the guys, but this one was real. He was like, "We need a singer," and the background singing's great, but the biggest thing is to say something with her. And I knew the song, but I didn't know it, perfectly. So I just did a lot of learning. I had to record it for her to approve of my voice and the way I sang it. And thankfully she did. And I went out there and we did Vegas for, shoot, I don't even know. I don't remember, a couple months. And then we had a couple other shows in LA, New Orleans and stuff like that. And it was wild because I'm going to go back to my insecurities and imposter syndrome and all that. But a lot, I know a lot of people that would have gotten that gig and crushed it. And I was so scared. I just overthought every note I sang, everything. But it went awesome and it was incredible. And the song Say Something, it's a huge show with all sorts of, things and dancers and everything. But that song that I sang with her was literally me and her holding hands center stage with 2 spotlights. So no pressure there. But it was amazing. And we got to vibe off of each other. And she's like, I like when you do this, let's do that. And I'll respond to you doing this. It was crazy to work with such a unbelievable vocalist and hear how she would, reshape this line or rephrase that line and that. So it was incredible, absolutely incredible. And then to go to other cities and do it as well. There were a couple cities where we weren't supposed to do that song. And she's like, no, we're gonna do that song. I want to do that song. And it was crazy, absolutely crazy. Here I am again, just like, did that really happen? Yeah, it was nuts. It was amazing. She was awesome. Thank Rob for that opportunity. And yeah, unfortunately, I was supposed to go on a Europe tour with her and I couldn't because I already had like 10 other gigs booked. But that was a great opportunity and an amazing time in my career for sure. Made a bunch of fans, bunch of pop fans that
I'm not perfect, it ain't worth it. I'm starting over again, and I can be self-destructive. I drink too much when I wonder what could have been. I need some relief, a moment of peace, 'cause I'm not as strong as you want me to be. I know how to fall, but I'm learning to fly. I know when I'm down to keep my head high. 'Cause it's hard to believe in yourself when you're told to be somebody else. Why be the second or simply repeat? I'd rather just be the very first me.
In 2024, the song First Me was released, which we will listen to again in a moment. But what's next for you? What we can expect soon?
So I got another single coming out, and a video coming out, 26th of this month. It's called Why Don't We Go? And then I wrote my friend Jessica Carvo, who I told you about, Jessica Carvo, who is an incredible singer-songwriter. And it's an escape kind of song. It's a airy, floaty on clouds, a little different from what I usually do, but I love the way it came out. And hopefully there'll be another single in a few months, and then the album will hopefully be done by the fall. Things always move around, so you never know. But there will be an album in the next 6 months to a year, and I'm super excited about it. Back to my jazz and R&B roots. songs like First Me, like I that song means a lot to me. That's one of the most honest songs I've ever written. And and it's doing really, really, really well. So it'll be more of that. I'm touring Europe in 3 weeks. Come out if you're close. I don't think you are. Where are you again?
Germany.
Oh, no, we're not gonna be anywhere near you. But that's okay. I was in Frankfurt a few years ago. I loved it out there. Oh, you need to look up Till Bronner. Have you heard of him?
I don't know. What's the
He's
name?
Till Bronner. He's a jazz trumpet player, phenomenal. And he tours Germany all year round. He's actually
Okay,
doing
cool.
Christmas music. He's doing a Christmas tour starting in November.
Okay, I will look it up because Christmas music, there you go.
I'll send you a couple of his things.
Perfect.
I could do a whole podcast on him. But yeah, there'll be albums coming out. I'm doing a lot of scoring these days for movies and commercials and TV things. So that's been a blast. I love looking at something and creating sound for it. And I'm producing and writing for a bunch of other artists. Just a lot of stuff. You're going to see me a lot. You probably get real sick of me over the next few years because there's going to be a lot of collaborations and music coming out. And if the cool thing about the business these days, if you don't like the song I released, this week, I'll have another one next week. And so it's there'll be a lot of music, a lot of stuff, a lot of arranging stuff. I'm arranging for this choir called the Aeolians of Oakwood University, who was one of the best choirs on the planet. And we're collabing a lot. Yeah, just a lot of collaborations like we started the conversation about. And people, I hope they don't get sick of my voice because there's gonna be a lot of it.
I'm excited, and I hope we can expect Last Christmas song very soon.
It's honestly, I have on my notes on my phone a list of things to cover and work
Perfect.
on.
Put it also on your to-do list, like the email to do it.
It's happening. The to-do list, that will happen, if not this year, next year for sure. And I'll be sure to send you before it gets released. I'll be sending you a copy of it to approve. You might be like, I don't like it, and then I'm not going to release it. So up to you.
Okay, I'm very excited to hear it.
Me too. We'll see how it comes out.
Okay, thank you for the wonderful stories and memories. Here's to another 18 years. And if you want to hear more from Matt Cusson now, you can find all the links in the description below the video. And thank you so much, Matt. And auf Wiedersehen.
Yes, exactly.
Germany.
Thank you so much for having me and bearing with my schedule. And you're awesome and you're great at this. And we'll have to do it again when the record comes out.
Say something.